Hey, welcome back to another episode of Smoking with the Robinsons. Today, we're cooking ribeye steaks. Hey everybody, tonight we are cooking these ribeye steaks. We are getting ready for a steak cook-off coming up in a couple weeks. So we thought we'd get on here and show you how we trim the steaks, cook, season, the whole 9 yards. So let's get these things trimmed up. All right, first thing we're gonna do is get these trimmed up. My knife of choice is a Victorinox curved boning knife. You can use whatever knife you like, but this is the one that I prefer. So in these cook-offs, you wanna get your steak looking as good as you can, nice and symmetrical. So we don't go too crazy trimming this. As you can see, there's some fat on here. We're gonna go ahead and take that off. We don't want to judge to get a mouthful of this hard fat over here. It's hard to get it rendered down as fast as we're gonna cook these. So we just kind of come around. You can kind of, there's a seam there. I don't know if you can see right there. We kind of just stay on the edge of that. We come around, just any of that hard fat that gets on the outside of these steaks, we like to take it off, flip it over, get this last little piece here. That looks good to me. We want it to still look like a steak. Our next step we're going to do is we got just some butcher's twine here, and we're going to put this on. This just helps the steak basically just keep the shape while we're cooking. The muscles up here can separate while you're cooking, and so we want to try to keep that from happening. And so we're just going to tie this up, and you don't want to do it too tight because your steak will expand while it's cooking and it'll kind of start curling up on you. So that's about as tight as I like it to go right there. Make sure everything's good. Go ahead and trim off your excess string. And that's what we're left with. So we're going to do our second steak here. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and get this charcoal dumped in this PK 360. So we'll come right back to you with that. Okay, we're starting this cook-off with some Royal Oak briquettes. We're going to fill this chimney all the way to the top. And we do have a couple of starter cubes underneath. And it's going to take this charcoal around 20 or 25 minutes to get going. Alright, we just dumped our coals in, but what we did is we took a chimney, filled it up with some Royal Oak briquettes, stuck a couple of starter cubes under it, lit it. It took it about 20 minutes to get ready. So we just dumped it in, and I like to kind of put them all on kind of one side and leave a cool zone over here for a little bit later on, and then we're just going to take some more Royal Oak and just kind of sprinkle. That looks good to me. So we're going to let this come up to temperature, get our grates on. We'll about be ready to start cooking. First step in our seasoning process is actually a little bit of a wet marinade. And we are actually going to be using 1 ounce of Worcestershire sauce. Is that how you say it? I mess that up every time. 1 ounce of soy sauce. And we're going to go ahead and combine both of those in here. And before we use these, what we're going to do, this might look funny to be cooking in a steak cook, but we're going to take this and this end here, we're just going to start poking holes in here. You could use a jacquard, but that's too hard to clean, and we found that this is just a lot easier, and all this is doing is tenderizing, lets a little more seasoning and a little flavor get down into the meat. So we're just going to poke some holes. That looks good on that side. We're going to flip this over. Hit some holes there, come around this spinalis. This is kind of the part where the judges will normally eat. So we want to make sure we get it good. And then we're going to bring this pan here. And we're just going to pour, it don't take much. We're just going to pour a little bit here. Rub all that in. Give them a flip. Pour the remaining. And we don't really let that set like you would just a regular marinade. This is going to kind of help our seasoning stick. And then I like to bring a rack in to actually season on where the steak's not just sitting in that liquid. And the first seasoning we're going to come with is this fajita seasoning. It's kind of just more of a salt, pepper, garlic rub. Just anybody that likes a good steak knows you need some salt and pepper with it. So we hit that pretty decent. These judges are only taking one bite, so you want to pack as much flavor into that one bite as you can. The next seasoning is this Cripple Kid Steak Wok by Papa Joe Spices. I'll link this in the description below. This is one of our favorites now. We just recently kind of started using it, and very good flavor. That's what we've been cooking all of our tri-tips and steaks with here recently. As you can see, we're going pretty heavy with it. Looks good right there. Next thing we're going to come with, and this is the last, this is Steak Rub by Killer Hogs. This is a more coarse rub. We're not going to go real heavy with this. This has just got some awesome flavors, but it is very coarse, so you don't want to go real heavy, and maybe a judge might get one of those big pieces in their mouth, and you don't really want that, so you want to keep it pretty light with that. So we're going to flip these over. We're going to do the other side, and we'll bring you back when it's time to go on the grill. All right. It is the time that I like. It's time to get these things on the grill. We are cooking on the PK360, and we are using grill grates. If you haven't seen these, I highly suggest them. We can even put the link to those in the description for you. But these just give the awesome grill marks that you see, and they do get hotter than just the grate, and they help with flare-ups. So these grates right now are running right around 650 degrees, which is right where we want them. So let's go ahead and get these steaks on. I do have a 2-minute timer set. After 2 minutes, we'll give these a little rotate. Give these a little smash down here. We'll start our timer and we'll close the lid. We'll come back to you whenever this timer goes off. All right, our timer's going off. Let's give these a rotate. So all we're going to do is slide this spatula under. Give them a little rotation. Mash them down where we know it's all getting good contact. Close the lid. Let this timer go again. All right. Now we are going to flip these over. Oh, looking good, looking good. We're going to get this lid closed. We're going to set this timer again for another 2 minutes. All right, we're going to go on our last rotation here. And we're going to kind of start moving over to this cool side where we didn't really have as much charcoal underneath. And we're going to set the timer again for 2 minutes. And they should be good to go. Alright, that 2 minutes up. We're going to go ahead and check the internals of these. That one's only about 106 right now. This one's a little farther ahead at about 119. We're looking for about 130 degrees. So what we're going to do is we're going to put them on this little PK rack where they're up off those hot grill grates, and we're going to let them just finish up that way. And so now we're not really worried about time. mainly just that internal temperature right now. So we'll get this lid closed and we'll come back to you whenever they're done. All right, I think these are about ready. Let's check this temperature. We are using a Thermopin by ThermoWorks. This is a great thermometer. We're gonna check our temperature. We're looking for that 130. We're at 131. We're gonna get them off. We are just gonna put them on some aluminum foil to let them rest. And we usually like to let them rest about 7 or 8 minutes. So we're going to kind of just lightly put that over and we'll bring you back. All right, these things are done. We let them rest for about 5 minutes and they look amazing to me. Let's cut into one and see how we did. Don't forget to pull your string off. You can see it wants to kind of start splitting right there a little bit, but that string kind of holds it together. So what they do in the steak cook-offs is they'll just kind of cut it in half and then they'll kind of prop it up on there, and that's kind of how they see the doneness and all that. So you know how well in this light you can see that it's got a little pink. You're supposed to cook to medium. So let's cut us a little piece here and see how we did. It's cutting very tender. Like a mama's love right there. That's sweet. Hey, if we can do this again at the contest, I think we'll be all right. To wrap up this video, we cooked on the PK360. Royal oak charcoal. We did a quick little marinade with a little bit of soy sauce and this right here. These are the 3 seasonings we used. I'll link all these in the description. And to me, these steaks turned out really well. I'm ready to get in there and eat. We've got a kid banging on the door in here, so we better get in there and check on him. But just remember to subscribe. There is a little bell by the subscribe button. If you hit that, it will notify you every time we upload a new video. Thanks for joining us. I'm gonna go eat.